Hello everyone, welcome to this Monday Musings. Oh, happy post-eclipse. How was your solar eclipse? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to hear. It's been very fascinating, very interesting for many, so I'm very curious. Oh, and thank you so much to everyone that came to the wonderful workshop on Friday the 13th with Goddess Isis. Goodness, how powerful, how radiant, how beautiful, and how cosmic was that. So thank you so much. The next workshop in this series is on Saturday the 28th of October. Once again, you can buy all three in one go, or you can go workshop by workshop, whatever calls to you. But today I'm here to continue a series of conversations that we've been having each Monday, and I'm very excited to do it. I always find myself very excited to have these conversations with you, even though they're challenging conversations, they're challenging introspections, challenging reflections. But that's really what it's all about, isn't it? That's really what this life is about, is this self-realization, this self-actualization. And we hear so many times, as within, so without. We hear so many times, everyone is a mirror to us, but to what extent are we letting that in? What extent are we utilizing that tool, that ancient maxim that's been offered to us to help us navigate this life? Because really that's what it's there for. It's to help us navigate this life. When we hear as within, so without, that's really to recognize that every single being and what we perceive of them is ourselves. So, for example, I used to have a pair of really dear friends who were in a relationship, and they were both my friends individually, as well as as a couple. And what they would say sometimes. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort the lighting out on my phone here. What I would find really fascinating, but shows this topic really well, is when they were alchemizing emotions, when they were alchemizing things that they needed to alchemize, one of the things that would always come up would be, gosh, this other person, this other being is so stubborn, their ego is so stubborn. And it was so fascinating to me to witness and to hold space when this was the topic, because they both would say it about the other but not really see it within themselves. And I was reminded of that recently. I was reminded of one of those conversations recently by my guides wanting to help me see something, and my team were coming through and they were saying, the ego that we perceive in others is only really seen by the ego within ourselves. So it's an equal opposite match, right? The parts of the other, whomever it is that we're observing, whatever we find rising within them, or whatever we observe or perceive to be rising within them, is actually what is rising within us, and it's us that's seeing it. It's seeing through our lens. But how do we really apply that, and how do we humble ourselves, really? How do we humble ourselves so we don't get caught in this very subtle ego loop? Because the ego is incredibly subtle. It's incredibly subtle. Yes, some may be very out there with how they speak and things like that, but the ego itself is incredibly subtle. It will convince us all that it is not us, it is someone else that is doing something, saying something, intending something, when really, are they actually intending that? Or is it you? Is it the being perceiving it? And this is what's really interesting, is that, we find ourselves in a world of observation right now. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot to observe. There's a lot of things that people are doing that we're just like, oh, how curious, And it's one thing to be curious, just to kind of go, But it's another thing to kind of take it further than that, isn't it? And and once again, when these videos come up, these videos come up because of my own introspection. These are my own lessons to myself, right? And I say this because, if one of us has a wound active of the topic we're talking about, the ego within us is also going to say they're talking about us. That's never the case. It's never the case. It's really interesting because where we're at right now, what's coming up right now, you know, with this Libran eclipse that we've just had, and you've got this Taurus one coming up, with this Libran eclipse that we've just had, it was really highlighting balance in relationships. When the Venusians came through on Saturday to do this, the channeling, you know, they were saying this is like an engagement within. This is a dedication of devotion. This is a proposal, so almost within the masculine, feminine, within self, to see the love, to see the value within self. And yes, as that light comes in, yes, things are going to shake within, and yes, without realizing, we're going to project it out onto loved ones, onto strangers, onto acquaintances, onto people that we know and see. And it is our stuff. It's only our stuff, everything that we see. Even if we perceive something from what we think is a heart-opened and just grounded place, it's still filtering through the lens of our own ego. This is why the whole world feels so misunderstood. Like, for real, the whole world feels incredibly misunderstood, doesn't it? Like, who on here watching this feels like they're fully understood by their loved ones or by people who mean something to them? I don't know anyone that feels like they're understood. I don't know anyone that feels like whatever they are intending is fully received. Because it always goes through this lens, you see. So how do we shift that lens? Well, I don't know, that's the question. That's the question I've been asking my guides. You know, how, and it's interesting because, you know, first we usually ask that question about people that are important to us in our life. How can we help them see who we are without getting, you know, swayed by a shadow or an energy that's around? You know, and we can't, really, we can't. But we're not meant to. And the reason why we're not meant to is because, you know, once again, as within, so without. When have we been doing that? Whatever it is, you know? We can look upon someone, and social media is a great place for this because, you know, it's so full of energy which is able to trigger very easily. It can inspire very easily too, but it's such a broad and very fertile place of spectrum when it comes to triggers, right? And we can, you know, see something in passing and, you know, maybe it's someone we know, maybe it's not someone we know, but maybe it causes us to want to have an opinion without realizing, a judgment without realizing, because judgment as well is such a subtle thing. Even the most conscious, especially, in fact, the most conscious of us, the ones who, you know, where we think, I connect with my team, I connect with this, I do this, I'm awakened in this way. Actually, usually that's where a big amount of ego is, right? Without realizing. And it's interesting to kind of talk about, because this might be triggering people already, and once again, it's never the being delivering the message. It's always the part of our ego actually triggering ourselves. Our own ego triggers us. Our own ego triggers us. Because it feels unsafe. It feels unsafe. It feels like something that it's been holding is about to break free. And it's okay. It's okay. But right now, there is such a spotlight being highlighted of what needs to burn away, of what needs to rise up in those flames, and what needs to come forth to be seen by the clarity of who we are, rather than be continually hidden. And this is the thing that happens, right? Is that especially our loved ones, especially those that are close to us, that we've let in, those that we've let in, it can be really interesting because there are wounded parts of us who will tell us, there are wounded parts of us which will portray those that we've let into our heart as an enemy or an antagonist. That's not really the case. We're just growing into ourselves. We're self-realizing more and more. But unless we're actively having the practice of, imagining our face upon everyone that we see, and that's the beautiful things that come to us and the challenging things. If there's someone in your life right now who you're feeling a bit about, a bit not sure, or you feel like you want to put boundaries around you for someone, just take a moment, allow yourself to be in a place of stillness. And just observe them. And notice the things that rise within you. Notice the things that you feel that they make you feel. And now imagine your face upon them. Because the whole world is created from within you, including everyone in it. Everyone in it. So what are they helping you see? What shadow is dancing around your field that you cannot perceive? What needs to come through another? Not because that's who they are, it's not. It's not who they are, and that's why they feel, that's why we all feel so misunderstood, so judged. And everyone will experience this differently. Some might feel judged by a crowd or a people, some might feel judged by parents or a sibling, some might feel judged by their lover or their child or their best friend or, their brother or whomever. Really, it comes down to how are we judging ourselves. Really, it comes down to what energy is in place within us that is reflecting back through someone that we care for, or someone in general. It's even like if we, if we see someone say something or share something, or someone says something to us, and we just think, oh, what did they mean? Like they meant that with this, this, and this. When they said that, they were meaning this, this, and this. They were thinking this, this, and this. Were they thinking that? Or was it you thinking that? It was you. It was you thinking that. That wasn't them thinking that. It was you thinking that. That's all you could see. I like to play a little gentle game with myself, especially when when I feel like when I've received something that I'm like, oh, how was I intended? Because a part of me has seen whatever the message was, or whatever the communication was, or whatever it is. Part of me has seen it and part of me has responded, but I then like to play a little game where I go, okay, well that's one way I saw it. How can I see that in a different way? How can I see that with its true intention? How can I receive this in the way it was genuinely intended? How can I get past the triggered parts to actually receive it with my heart? Because in so doing, the heart light illuminates and it shines a light upon the parts of me that were wounded, which helps dissolve them. This is a mastery of the mind, choosing not to see the illusion that shows up, because it is all a mirage. It is all a mirage. And our shadows create that. Our subconscious creates that. This is the time for the subconscious to heal. It's never been so ready and so available before than what it is right now. But yes, it takes courage, it takes brevity, it takes love, it takes patience. It takes patience. It takes resilience. Resilience to hear the thoughts that you're going to think and know that if they don't sound or feel good, it's illusion. You're seeing an illusion. Because then you start to take mastery over your creation, over your world. Everything is an illusion. Everything. And that's a really good thing, because the sooner we realize that, the sooner we get to be the puppet master rather than the puppet. Right? The sooner we get to create and build the community, the world, the life that we want, the love that we want. And we do that from the heart. not from a fear or scarcity-based place. We do that from choosing to see benefit of the doubt, choosing to know the good experiences that you've had, the gratitude and appreciation that you've had, the love that you've felt, choosing to know that and let that be your fuel. Not envy, not jealousy, not betrayal, not any of the things that we've spoken about in recent weeks, because they are arising. This sibling wound is emerging. It's all to do with, comparison and how we were raised and all this collective wounding and having forgiveness. Having forgiveness, So for this week, and like I say, these videos are always really, I'm just talking to me. And if they help you, I'm so glad. Please share them if they do. If they help you connect with yourself deeper, please let me know. Please comment. Please say hello. But really, these videos are to help keep me humble in my own journey as well. Because they're medicine for me too. We are all human as well as divine. And we're living this human virtual reality, really. Why not live it in abundance and bliss and love, with great relationships and laughter and joy? Why choose to poison ourselves with illusion that doesn't serve? Those times are gone. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I appreciate and I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on Wednesday for Wednesday's meditation. Bye for now.